Good afternoon, guys. I hope you guys are doing awesome today. And welcome to the a business show that I have, part of the Power Up 365. And I just want to, I know it's holiday in most parts of the world, but I wonder if you're sitting here as I was just sitting and I'm thinking, what is money? And how do I make more money? There's so many people today that are sitting on a holiday and saying, you know what, I wish I had more money. I wish I had more money. I wish I could have be financially free. And when I hear those words, I wonder if they know how the game of money works. And today, I want to just speak to you guys, tell you guys a few percentages, right? I just want to share a few percentages with you guys, just to think on how money works. While you guys are sitting there on holiday and you're about to start the week tomorrow, and you're just thinking, where am I going? Where am I going? Now, people say, if only I had money. Well, the only way you make money is through service. So you've got to do a service and there's an exchange, and that service must be of value. So I don't think the big difficult thing is how to make money. I think um, if you want to make money, you go wash someone's car, and that person's going to give you an exchange, and you're going to make some money. If you're more valuable, if you can become more valuable, study, learn, and grow yourself and become more valuable, that means you add more value, and that means the exchange is going to be much more value. You're going to make more money. I remember a story. The old days, they used to have someone in a lift, and they used to say, "Sir, what floor are you going to?" And a brain surgeon gets onto the lift. This brain surgeon gets onto the lift, and he says to the people, "Listen, I want to go to the third floor, let's say, right?" Goes to the third floor. So the lift man presses the third floor, goes up to the lift, and this guy gets out and goes in and does an operation. He does a brain surgery. And in that brain, how long did it take? 2, 3 hours, whatever. But as he leaves, the amount of money that brain surgeon did in those few hours is the amount of money that lift man gets in a year. Now, people say, but that's unfair. No, well, that is how you understand the value of money. That's how you understand you become valuable. That's how you understand that you need to study something, do something, become more valuable. I don't mean you need to go become a brain surgeon, but you need to study to master something. Even a welder, someone who fixes toilets. Another person told me the guys that work with their hands in these developed countries, some of these countries, everywhere you go, everyone's got a master's degree, and no one wants to work with their hands. And the people that are working with their hands, fixing toilets, welding, metal, and all that, they make much more money. They make much more money than the people with the master's degrees, because there's so many people with master's degrees. The economy can't give everyone that job, but there's not many people that are willing to go clean toilets, fix toilets, work with metal, and now they go and study how to fix toilets. They go and study how to. Now that you might say that that's not so difficult. Yes, but there's a demand, and you're adding value because someone is going to phone you to fix their toilet. Someone's going to phone you because their roof is leaking. So there's value in that, and some people don't want to work with their hands. And then sometimes in those countries, those people make much more money. I remember I went to a wedding once, and at the wedding, the father of the bride, who everyone was like, he doesn't have a degree, he's not a very high class person and all that, but he actually bought the house for his daughter. He bought a brand new car for his daughter, paid for the wedding, did everything. And he was a person that worked with his hands, a multimillionaire, because he had a service that was in need, so he was adding value to the marketplace. So I always tell a story. How does a person who cleans the floor in a McDonald's one day own a McDonald's? And that's possible because he sees what the other positions are. He adds value, he learns, he studies, he's got a good attitude, he's willing to go the extra mile. So I think money is not that difficult to make. So how do you become financially free? Well, the way you become financially free is what you do with the money you make. You see, it's what you do with the money you make. So I have a financial freedom system that I teach. I have a financial freedom course, and how it goes is like this. If you actually look at it, every single month, let's say you earn a certain amount. Let's say you earn 100,000 rand, just for easy sake, right? And that 100,000 rand. Now on this side, you have got lifestyle. On this side, you have lifestyle. And so you put down 50%. Let's say 50%, yeah. Okay? Put down 50%, and you say, I'm going to spend 50%. Now, on this side, you go and you put an allocation. Right? And the allocation that you have, first of all, you've got to learn to store money. You've got to learn to store money for an opportunity. If I told you a house that is worth R1 million right now is going on for sale for 100,000 rand, you still have to have the 100,000. It doesn't matter what opportunities come around, you still have to have the 100,000, right? So what happens is, now I've divided this and I say, listen, we have to have a position that we store, right? We store 30% of the 50%. So that is 50,000 rand, right? You can live on 50,000 rand. You can pay, you must live on 50,000 rand. 30% of the 50,000 rand, 5, 10, 15, 15,000 rand needs to go to your store account, okay? You need an account which is called the play account, right? You need to, because the play account. That is, hey man, go just to have fun, enjoy, because otherwise, if you don't have a system that you reward yourself, so you put 20%, and then one day you say, I'm going to go to Walt Disney, I'm going to go on a holiday, I'm going to take my family. That's called a play account, right? The next one is 20% education. Education. You've got to have an education account. Now, you're listening to this YouTube, you're educating yourself. I mean, it's hard, it's free, but a lot of people say they want more money in their life, and then I ask them, how many books on money are you reading? How are you educating yourself? Some people say, I want to go into investments in the property. So I say, how many property books do you have? How many seminars are you going to? How many coaches do you have? So what happens is, the more successful coaches you want in your life, the more you're going to have to pay for it. So you need to put into an education account 20% to educate yourself, right? 20% is long-term assets, right? So it's a long-term asset. So let's just say you're driving a car and your car's getting old and you need to change your car. Now you need to get a deposit, you need to get a fund, or you want to buy a new house, or you need to get new furniture. You should have a long-term fund, and you put 20% in there. Why? So you don't strain yourself. Now, Many years ago, I said to myself, I don't have the money to do the system. And it's not about the money. The value doesn't matter here. It's the habit. The value doesn't matter here. It's the habit, right? And then the last one is 10%, and that's giveaway. You give it away, right? Do we add up to 100 here? 20, 40, 60, 70, 100. So this is 100% of that 50,000 Rand. 30% you put into your store account, 20% you put into your play account, 20% you put into your education account, 20% you put into your long-term assets, and 10% you give away. Now people say, oh man, please, I'm not going to give away. The good book speaks about abundance. You've got to have an abundance mindset. And the reason you do not want to give money away to help other people is because you're living in a scarcity mindset. You're living in a scarcity mindset. That is why you do not want to give away money, because you're living in a scarcity mindset, right? So if you had 100 Rand, the only reason you do not want to give away 50 Rand of that 100 Rand is because you're living in a scarcity mindset. Okay, you don't believe money is going to come back to you. You don't believe, so you're living in a scarcity mindset. It's all about holding it, and it's because you feel that you're never ever going to give away. You can't give away because you never know if you're ever going to get money, and that is a problem, right? So you develop this system. Now, I want to speak about the storing of money. Okay. There comes a time, we keep learning about people that have won the lotto and they lose the money. Okay. And that has all got to with mindset, because they can't handle the money that they working with. So when they get more, they tend to lose it because they haven't educated themselves, they haven't increased their self-concept, their mindset, they can't handle that kind of money, and they get rid of it. And then you also get very, very rich people that keep getting money. They're very, very rich people that keep getting money, but they end up broke, because what happens is they keep living a higher lifestyle. So they keep living a higher lifestyle. Now, if you are right now and you say, but I can't, I'm only earning 1,000 Rand. Okay, then change this to 10% and 80% for your future. This is your financial freedom over here. Financial freedom. Okay, this is your freedom side. This is your lifestyle side, right? This is your investments that you're doing. Your investments, because you'll never become rich with the money you make. You become rich with what you do with the money you make. And all this means you've got to have the discipline. You've got to have the discipline. And a lot of us are guilty of that. We make 100,000 and all of a sudden we have a contract of 100,000, so we start spending 99,000. We start spending more. But you should not spend more than 50% of what you earn. That should be your cap. And let me tell you, when you start managing this, there'll come a time when you can't even spend. Yesterday, I was dealing with a client and he says, but Johnny, I have everything I need. I have a nice house, I have a nice car, I have everything I need. I can't spend anymore. I keep making more money. So, education and storing. These two are very, very important. These two are very, very important. The rest has got to do with mindset, being on an abundance, saving for a long-term asset and play, because this is financial freedom. So you're living in an environment, you've got a nice car, you've got a nice house. When something breaks, you've got a fund that can fix that, so you don't have to stress about that, right? But the most important thing is storing and education. Now, what should I do with my money? How do I make more money? How do I make more money? Okay. Well, if I'm investing, right? If I need to do something with my money, there's really only 6 things that you can really do. I always say 5, but today I want to say 6. Okay. The first one, invest in businesses. Buy businesses, okay? So you can invest in a business. You can go see there's a restaurant and that restaurant owner needs capital and he's short of 300 or 400,000. Let's say the restaurant costs 10 million rand and you've got 1 million rand and you give him a million rand and you become a 10% equity partner. Now you have investments in a business, or there's an engineering company, or there's a stationery company or whatever, a transport company. Guy wants to buy a truck, he doesn't have the money for the truck, therefore you go and invest and you help on that, right? Now I'm not going to speak on the operation because there's a lot of things when you invest in business. You should know your numbers, you should have control of it. That's why I enjoy investing in business. That's my art. I love it, right? So the next one, what you can do, invest in stocks, right? Go get an index fund. An index fund is something of a whole stock exchange where there's different businesses, and it's the same thing. A stock exchange is different businesses. You can go invest in blue chip shares and you can say, listen, every single month I'm going to put 10,000 rand in the stock exchange, but you've got to educate yourself on where you're putting your money, right? You can do that. Another one that you can do is commodities. Commodities, gold and silver. You can actually go to the coin shop and go buy a Kruger Rand. You can go and store your money in commodities. You can store your money in the stock exchange. You can store your money in gold or silver, right? So there's another place where you can go and invest. Number 4 is crypto. I'm not a big fan of that, but it is an investment. You can go and invest in cryptos. Okay, so you can go and say, I'm going to go buy Ethereum, I'm going to go buy Bitcoin, and you can invest in that. And the 5th one is property. You can go and invest in property. Okay, and I never say this one, but I want to say it today. The 6th one is you can invest in financial institutions like banks. Okay, like banks. Now, the reason I want to bring the 6th one up is I want you guys to understand what is money. Money is a promissory note from the government that they're going to give you. Haven't you heard that the Americans are just printing trillions and trillions of money? They're printing it. When you actually go and you give someone a cup of coffee and you've made the cup of coffee and it's your hard work and he exchanges for you and he gives you money, it's just a means of exchange, right? Now, what happens is, let's look at a number. Let's look at a number, right? Right now, prime is 11.75%. Right? The repo rate is 8.25%. 8.25%. So that is the interest rate that banks borrow money for to give you. But there's another thing now. Now we've got to go and say, listen, okay, what happens if I go take my money, I go and I earn money, and I take my stored money and I go and I give it to a bank. Now, a bank's going to give you a lot of different products. You can put it in a fixed deposit, you can put it on a call account, you can put it compound interest, effective interest, but as soon as I see interest rates that are saying they're giving you 9.25%, 11%, I know that is not compounded interest. That is effective interest rate. An effective interest rate means they say, you put the money here for 12 months, we're going to give you 10%. You go put 10,000 Rand, they're going to give you 11,000 Rand back. You're not earning interest on interest. That's compounded. Okay, and that's really how you become wealthy, is through compounding. Compounding your business, compounding your interest, that you make money on your money, right? So always be careful of that, right? So if this is what the banks are, this is prime. right? And this is 8.25. If you actually go and look, I went and I did a summary here, and I said, listen, if a bank's giving you a 3 months effective interest rate, they're giving you 7.95%. For 6 months, they're giving you 8.10%. At 12 months, they're giving you 8.9%. And if you put your money in, you fix it for 12 months or 36 months, they're going to give you a little bit more interest. You've got to be careful what's effective and what's compound. And if you put the money in a fixed deposit, I looked on the website, I was looking at the different banks, and they're sort of the same. It depends what product you get. But you're getting anything from 5.75%, okay, compounded interest. And you can even go up to something like nearly 9%, 10% on effective interest rate. All right, but you're never going to get 9-10% of fair compounded interest. That's never going to happen. Maybe you're going to get to about 8%, right? So let's just say it's 7.5% to 8%. So you invest to make more money. You're investing to make more money. So how are you going to make more money? What is the thing that is killing you here? If you're earning 5.75% to 8% on a compound interest rate or effective interest rate, just be careful of what I'm saying there, and you're earning that, what is really you got to be careful of? There are two things you got to be careful of here. You've got to be careful of two things, and those two things is taxes and inflation. Is taxes and inflation. Those are the two things you've got to be careful of. If you're really earning, if you go and you put R1 million down and you earn 5.75%, you're earning 57,000 Rand. And on the 57,000 Rand, depending on what tax bracket you are in, depending if it's a company, you're putting it in a company that is taxed at 27%, or you're putting it in your own name, that's anything from 18 to 45%, depending on your tax bracket. Tax is going to minimize this amount that you earn. Yes, there is a tax rebate that you can get, but tax is going to minimize this a bit, right? And what else is going to minimize it is inflation. It's inflation. So are you really beating inflation? Now, people will say inflation is 4%, 5%. Me personally, I think inflation is like 6 to 8% nearly. Things are just becoming so expensive, especially in South Africa with our power crises, with our water crises. Businesses have to adapt. Diesel, petrol, it keeps going up. The consumers are paying for that. So I think inflation is really at about 6 to 8%. I don't think anyone can tell you exactly what inflation is, but what I do know is I better beat 8% of inflation. Because what I say inflation is, when my family goes and shops in January to buy milk, bread, and all that stuff for a basket of food, right? And when you put the electricity and the water and the rates and taxes in that basket, what is that basket? If we were spending 10,000 Rand, I'm telling you we're going to spend more than 11,000 Rand. It's going to go up with 1,000 Rand easy. And that's a 10% inflation. That's 10%. I'm just saying 6 to 8% inflation. I'm telling you, inflation is killing us. So what happens is, if you're earning 5.75 after taxes, after inflation, you're dead in the water. That's why I don't like this one. I don't like putting my money in the bank as a fixed deposit to earn more money, because I feel like I'm dying. I feel like I'm dying that way. So what do I now need to do? I need to go and look at, listen, my favorite one is a business. For business, I'm going to look here anything from 30% upwards. 30% to a business, right? That's what I would like to get for a business. If I invest R1 million, I want to make 300,000 Rand a year on that business. If that business is not going to give me 300,000 a minimum, I'm not interested, especially in this volatile thing. So I'm not interested in that, right? Stocks, It's a slow return, but you can exit. So there's a few things you need to look at. How do you exit? Can I exit? A business, you can't exit. It's a slow exit, right? Stocks, what am I going to get? What am I going to get for stocks, right? And stocks is like, I had money in the stock exchange. I've had it there for the last few years. My son asked me the other day, how much is it gone up? And it actually didn't even go up with 10%. But can it go up? Yes. But it's a long-term game. It's a long-term game. If you put into an index fund over 5 years, it's proven that you're going to go up, right? You must probably going to go from anything from 12 to 20%, but you could get the right people investing for you. So you've got to go back to education. Do you have the education to put into the stocks, right? So that is a fast exit. It's a fast exit. You can just sell your shares. Commodities is also a fast exit. If you go and have gold and silver, there's a price there, and you can. But it is not. They put gold and silver because when currencies devaluate, gold and silver tend to stand the ground. Robert Kiyosaki says gold and silver is God's money, right? And currencies is man's money. Anything that they print is not worth keeping. Okay, so that's why I don't like keeping money in the bank. I don't like keeping something that keeps getting printed out, that the government controls, that keeps devaluating against the dollar, against the rand. There's always these currency fluctuations. So I don't think you're not going to make massive returns on gold and silver, but it's most probably going to be more stable than currencies. Okay, crypto. I've not been a fan of crypto. I just don't see the value of it. It doesn't carry any value, but I must come to terms and acknowledge I have a lot of clients that have made millions and millions on crypto. Over time, if they got in early, they're making money. Now, the reason I put crypto in, crypto is starting to be maybe more solid than currency. The only thing is you've got to understand there's volatility in crypto. You can lose your money. That's why I would never say, I would say diversify. If I diversify in a portfolio, if I come and get my 50% in here and I diversify on this portfolio, I assure you within the next 5-10 years, you're going to be much more wealthier. Because what happens is you're controlling your lifestyle, you're not spending all your money, you're storing, you're educating yourself. Warren Buffett says, do not invest in something you do not understand. So you need to educate yourself. You don't need to do all of this. You can do 1, 2, or 3 of them, right? But you need to educate yourself in wherever you're going to invest. And you can exit crypto fast, okay? And your returns here can be very high and it can be low. It's very volatile, this, right? Commodities is more solid. Property, I love property. Okay, the reason why I love property is because it has a 70% gearing, right? I'm just using it. It depends from customer to customer, right? But it has a 70% gearing. If I want to buy a 1 million rand property, I only need 30,000 rand. 300,000 rand, sorry. I only need 300,000 rand. If I want to buy 1 million rand of gold and silver, I need the whole million rand. It's not easily that I'm going to get financed, although there are institutions now, if you give them the gold, if it stands as surety, they will finance that, right? Stocks don't easily get financed. But I like Elon Musk would put his stocks of Tesla as surety and he would get money. That's why Elon Musk doesn't pay tax. He runs a company and he builds his stock value. He has a lot of stock, so he has a business. He takes that stock. Now, if you own a lot of Tesla stock and it's valuable and he goes to the bank and he says, listen, I need 10 million US dollars now, but I'm going to give you 100 million worth of Tesla stocks as surety. bam, the banks are going to, some financial institution is going to borrow him. He doesn't pay tax on that money because he's actually borrowing the money from the bank. He hasn't earned the money. He's put his, now he takes that money and maybe he goes buys something like Twitter, and now Twitter starts giving him money. Now, it's why the rich have a philosophy. They use the money. Now, here comes the thing. Every time people put money in the bank, when you go put 100,000 Rand in the bank can borrow out, can lend out, right? I think it's lend. Can lend out 10 times to 20 times that money. 10 times or 20 times, 10 times or 20 times that 100,000, right? So you put in 100,000, or this is 1 million, they can borrow out 10 million, okay? You put in, you can go in and get 20 million. So they make money, they are giving you 8%, right? But they can borrow out 10 times that, so they can take and make 80% on that. That's how they make it. That's what our bank charges and that. So the bank, you are depositing money in the bank. The bank is a business. The laws and regulations say that wherever all their deposits, so they say, come and deposit your money with me because I can borrow out 10 times the money I have in my deposits. And I'm going to borrow that out at a prime interest rate of 11.75% plus maybe another 2 or 3, 2 plus prime. They're going to borrow that out. So it makes sense. The bank is a business. I want to own businesses. That's why I love businesses. Yes, they're higher risk. Yes, they're slow to exit, but they can give you a 30% return. Banks are getting massive returns on their money because of this regulation, because they're allowed to borrow X amount of money in their deposits, and they are protected against that, right? So the fixed, the property, sorry, let me get back to property. Property is giving you anything. If you're in Cape Town and you're buying property, you must probably going to get there from 7% to 12%. Very difficult to get 12%. I like going for property 12%, but you can't be buying property where everyone else is buying property. That's never. Estate agent is going to try to push that price as high as possible. So he's going to come and tell you, listen, this is Cape Town. You can only get property at 7%. There are no properties. As soon as someone says there are no properties, they're just looking at the wrong places. You need to look where no one else is looking. There are always deals in properties. And you buy a property for what you can make it, not for what you're buying it, but you pay for what you're buying it. So if that income is at a 7%, you not need to try and push that property to go to a 10 or 11%, or you need to find better properties. But why are properties so good? Because they got a 30% gearing, right? So sorry, you're gonna put a deposit of 30% your own equity, and you're going to borrow the other 70%. And from the rental income, it's going to pay yourself off. That's why rich people rent their properties that they're living in at a 7% return. Right? Because they know if they borrowed the money, they're going to pay 11.75%. So they rent at a 7% and they buy all the properties that they rent out because it makes economic sense. But now what happens is, once you've got property, and remember, property goes up in two ways. You get the income, that's the rental, and you get capital appreciation. If you keep properties for a few years, you can go to the bank and say, listen, bank, I've half paid this property off. I need the capital. This property in Cape Town is worth much more. I want to borrow on that property and buy a business. Business makes 30%, business pays the bond back of the property. Business makes 30%, you buy a few stocks every month. You buy every 2 months, you go and buy a gold coin or a silver coin. You go and you buy cryptos. You come to the financial freedom system, and you know that because remember, as you're doing this, now you start earning more. Now your 100,000 has gone to 120,000, 130,000. Your lifestyle starts getting better. You start bringing in more money money. Yeah, I'm telling you guys, this system works. The sooner you get going on this financial freedom system that I've designed through many coaches, because you know what? Because I was so bad at it. I just never had money. I just never had money, and I knew I needed to learn something. And I started learning this, and I've been teaching this now to my coaches, to my students, and to my clients, because I'm always building new businesses. But there comes a time when I need to take the business and say, listen, now we need to start investing for your financial freedom. What is financial freedom? Just means you can wake up each day and never worry about money, because you have such a diverse portfolio of so many different property. You have a property portfolio, you have a business portfolio, you have a stock portfolio, you have a commodities portfolio, and you could have some money in the bank. You got crypto. If you build the discipline to keep putting this into this portfolio, I'm telling you guys, your life will change. And it's not a fast thing. There is no easy money. You got to work to make money. You got to go and make the burgers, flip the burgers, get a job, make the money, take the money. You never become financially free with the money you earn. You become financially free with what you do with the money you earn. Okay, guys, I hope this video works for you guys. If you guys want any help to get on financial freedom, reach out to info@ieint.com. This is Johnny Iliadis, your ultimate success strategist. Thank you for your time. I really appreciate it. And go out there and work towards your financial freedom. Money does make a difference. Money makes your life easier. Money is not everything, but it is very, very important. Thank you very much, guys. This is Johnny Iliadis, your ultimate success strategist, and I will see you at the top. Cheers, bye.